What's good, Slay Nation? It's your boy Chris is Dope. I'm accompanied by my boy Tony Gaines himself. He's here today.
We out here.
Yeah. So today,
it's a pleasure.
Today I'm actually doing a different video, and we wanted to collaborate on something that we both have experienced ourselves, and I'm sure a lot of you watching this right now have experienced as well. But maybe you didn't have the perspective that we're going to give you on this certain topic. And if you're looking at the video, obviously by the title, you know what we're talking about. So, are breakups always a bad thing?
No. Definitely not, and we're about to get into why. It can actually be the greatest thing that happens to you.
So this is a different perspective because people usually associate breakups with a lot of negativity and a lot of depression and anxiety, and we're going to give you 6 reasons. We did 3 apiece on why we think breakups are actually a breakthrough and not a breakup. A breakthrough to really just expanding who you are and becoming a better version of yourself. So I'll let Tony start with his 3, and then I'll follow with my 3, and then we'll go ahead and discuss those.
Definitely. First one for me is probably one of the biggest ones. Whenever you're going through a breakup, I feel like the biggest fear for people is that it immediately puts them in an area of unknown. The minute you're in the area of the unknown, it's immediately uncomfortable. You go through that uncomfortability and immediately everything tells you, let's go back to normality. Let's go back to what we're used to. Let's go back to what we're attached to and what we know as real life. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's going to be your first instinct and first reaction whenever you're faced with an uncomfortable situation or circumstance. You got to know that ahead of time, that you're going to be going against the grain at this point, not with the current. 100%. So immediately it has to be a game mindset that, look, we're going through something head first, head on, not running away. And that needs to be the first mindset approach, is that, look, have the understanding that pain comes with it, sadness comes with it, maybe depression comes with it. These emotions are inevitable, and they put you in an area of unknown because hopefully for most people that's not your normal state of being. With that being said, I think what's critical is when you're in the midst of these unknown emotions or unfamiliar emotions, that you don't let them linger too long. I don't want to say run from it because it's going to happen regardless, but the key thing should be not to let things drag on for hours to days to weeks, because then that alters your actual mood. Your mood alters your temperance alters your personality trait, and then it becomes a temporary change that event had on you and not an effect that you had on an event. And to me, it goes by those one of the 2 things, the only 2 things we're in control of is how we react and how we prepare. And there really is no preparing for those moments, but you can prepare on how you're going to react by trying to see things coming. A lot of times we do see them coming lightly, even though we may try to ignore it. But the biggest thing is face these things head on and don't let them linger. You have a certain refractory period that once an emotion sets in and it becomes the new normality, it's going to be damn near impossible to rewrite that program unless you really have a conscious awakening. That's my first point.
Nice. I like that. So what I got from what he's saying here is not dwelling on the situation that's happening, and instead facing it head on. You know what I'm saying? So in anything that you apply that in life, in anything, in any category, not just relationships, whether you're going to the gym, because we both are gym goers, and pain is a good thing in the gym because that's where your muscle fibers are breaking and that's where growth starts to happen. So I apply that with any area in your life. When you're against resistance is when you're going to have the most growth. When there is resistance,
Definitely.
Versus going through the current, like he's saying. And I feel like when you're climbing up that incline is when you're definitely going to have the most results. And I like that point that you made there.
For sure.
So I'm gonna go with my point, and then we'll go back and forth.
Definitely.
So I got a few notes here. So breakups are actually a good thing. So this is what the title is, because obviously you're going to see a million videos on YouTube on how to overcome a breakup and why breakups are so bad and why they hurt, and obviously the psyche behind the breakups and all that. But why are breakups good for you is something that is rare to see on YouTube or on any platform, because so many people are afraid and they fear the pain that's associated with breakups. And I feel like it's something that shouldn't be like swept under the rug, and it shouldn't be lessened, because it's a true emotion, and it really does hurt, and it's something that I feel like people rather have physical pain than going through a breakup, because it literally is like an addiction. It's like a drug addiction. It's like having a withdrawal.
You're exactly right.
So I feel like if we come at this situation with a different perspective, we just really start to change our mentality on the
reprogram
whole,
our whole
exactly
idea of how we react and see things.
Exactly. So
sure.
Reprogramming. So this is one of the reasons that I have, is finding your individuality again. So what that means is, when we get in a relationship, we tend to lose ourselves in that relationship, whether it be our physical health, our mental health. We start kind of accommodating ourselves to that other person, whether they have bad habits, anything. We start to kind of morph into those similar traits that they have, and we kind of begin to lose ourselves, begin to lose our routines. Maybe we spend less time with friends and family. So those are a lot of things that we tend to shy away from when we're in a relationship, because we're so consumed by making that other person happy and spending most of our free time on that other person. So I feel like when you do go through a breakup, and why it's so critical in the times that you are feeling pain, it can be used as a boost, as a propel to like get you to even a higher place than you were ever before.
Definitely.
So I feel like with every breakup that I've been through, maybe you can relate to this. I feel like every breakup has kind
Leveled
of awakened me in a way. You know what I mean? And it's taken me to different heights, whether it be in business or in my physical health or my mental health. If I'm talking personally, my last relationship really helped me mentally. So I started to see, I was thinking negative, I was having all these negative thought patterns, and I began to catch myself. And it wasn't, and I attribute that to that relationship, because if it wasn't for that relationship, I wouldn't be mentally where I am right now and growing. So I feel like finding your individuality after a breakup is a perfect thing for you to happen in that moment, because you're so used to just associating with negativity.
I want to piggyback off that for just 1 second, because when you talk about, finding yourself and developing, in essence, it's recreating yourself in an area of unknown, and that's what I think is so special, is that most people think you create yourself and it's this planned route that you're gonna have.
For sure.
It's a strategy. It's something that you're gonna plan out. When in reality, the best place to create yourself is in that area of unknown.
For sure.
Because you literally have a blank canvas in front of you, and it's like the universe is telling you, let the cards fall where they may. This one's on you. Exactly. There is no bondage. There is no attachment. There is no stronghold anymore. And that's fear in and of itself. And it goes kind of hand in hand with that saying that, our greatest fear isn't that we're inadequate, but that we're greater beyond measure. And it's that subconscious fear of that, damn, that could have been the thing that makes me better, and that could have been the thing that was holding me back. Subconsciously, we want to stay where we've always been.
Yep.
And I think the biggest thing is realizing that comfort is the biggest demise of a king.
Yep.
And as you're evolving as the king or queen that you are, the more you see yourself get comfortable with where you're normally thinking and how you normally feel, usually based on things from the past, things from your childhood, you'll start to see that you're living in the past more than trying to create your future.
Absolutely.
And when you start creating your future is when you get to his point, when you start finding who you are and creating your personality.
Absolutely.
I agree completely.
Absolutely. So another thing that I want to add to there is that I got from that is trusting the process. I feel like most of the time we're so consumed by trying to control every aspect of how anything is supposed 100%. To be, the outcome of everything, but we have no control on anything, only the control of how we think of things. We have no control of anything only our perspective on those things. So you have
Wow,
the capability,
that.
you have the power to see things as negative or positive or neutral. You don't have to look at things in a positive light or in a negative light. So I challenge you guys, next time that you have any type of opposition in your life, is don't view them as negative and stop victimizing yourself, but instead see it as an opportunity of what can I grow, what can I learn from this situation to grow, versus why is this happening to me. So that's a huge thing that I took from failed relationships, or failed relationships with friends, or business opportunities, anything in general, is I stopped victimizing myself and started looking for that seed in that, in that situation, and where I can plant it next to inevitably grow, to evolve as a person. So that's my point on that one. And second one for you,
Yeah,
Tony?
I'll get on the second one, which is it's gonna help you ultimately to identify what you truly do want and what truly makes you happy. I think it just goes hand in hand with that mindset that it's never a failure, always a lesson. Again, like he was saying, your body, your brain does not care what you choose to think, whether it be negative or positive. It is going to react and produce based off of a thought. Usually your thoughts are attributed to what makes you happy or sad, or what you're used to being, either happy or sad. Now, I know everybody's familiar with the term, you got to go through hell to get to heaven, or everybody wants to get to heaven but nobody wants to die. And it's very much the same thing, in a sense where if you're fearful of having to go through the trial and error, if you're fearful of failure, if you're fearful of dying emotionally in a situation, if you're fearful of being done wrong or being betrayed, it's ultimately going to keep you there.
Absolutely.
It's gonna keep you there.
Yeah.
The minute you choose to go through the fire, that's when you truly recognize what's in front of you and what really is. It's the same reason why they say all diamonds are made through extreme pressure.
Absolutely.
It's the same. I mean, all these cliche sayings are all piggybacking the same mental approach,
They have
which is
depth
that
to it though, man.
you have to go through the rough to get to the good.
Absolutely.
You have to experience, and it's part of our. I believe it's part of our soul journey, is to go through the entirety of life and what it has to offer and what it has to experience, whether it be the most extreme negative or the most extreme positive. I really believe in one person's journey through life. It's inevitable for you to see yourself go through these extreme negatives and positives, all to identify what is your true purpose and your true state of being happy.
Absolutely.
And the more you enjoy the process instead of running from it, is the more you're going to see yourself be a product of the process and end up being a master of it ultimately.
100%.
So
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So for next reason that I got here, so breakups are actually a good thing. So this is the next one, is you're removing yourself from a situation that wasn't serving you or benefiting you. When we're in relationships, we tend to have this ideology in our head of how things should be or what could be, right? We always find ourselves doing that. We always find ourselves in the midst of a breakup and thinking, oh, this was going to be my life partner and we had all these plans together.
for sure.
Versus the reality of what's actually going on in that situation. And we tend to, it's a defense mechanism that our brain actually does, is we tend to only remember all the highlight moments, and our brain does this. It's there's science behind this. It'll completely block out the negative, and your whole vision is, your whole judgment is exactly.
Your whole peripherals are blocked.
You're all blocked up, and that's why when you ask family members or you ask close friends or people that knew about your relationship and know you personally, if they're telling you that you're making the right decision with this breakup, 9 times out of 10 they're right, because they're not in the relationship. They're looking from the outside in, and their vision, they don't have the beer goggles on that you got on, because when you're in a relationship, everything's rainbows and butterflies until reality hits in. And when you're going through this breakup, I want to challenge you to really think of why you're in this situation, why you've gotten to this point, because there had to be a fundamental reason, there had to be a key reason why things weren't working out. And it doesn't matter who broke up with who, because the result is the same. You guys broke up, whether that person lost interest or there was turmoil in the relationship. They ended it, and that's no longer serving you. They're not on the same level or have the same capacity to give back to you anymore. So you shouldn't be wasting any more valuable time in that person, and vice versa. If you ended a relationship, same thing. It's benefiting you because you're no longer tied to anything that's not benefiting you or not serving you, and same for letting the other person go and letting them move on with their life and becoming a better person themselves. So I feel like when we do go through these breakups, we tend to have this fuzzy vision of what's really going on, and steer away from the fundamental reasons why we're in that situation and the harsh reality that it's just not working out.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think, I think you kind of led me into my third one.
Perfect.
Which I think, this is separate from finding out what you want and what makes you happy. And it's going to lead me to my third point, which I think everybody is subconsciously in a quest, in a journey on trying to attain, and they don't even know it. And that is learning how to love.
For sure.
I think that's, if you're going through anything really traumatic, and if it's a real breakup that really shakes you up and matters to you and changes you, it's gonna teach you how to love better. Naturally, unfortunately, based on most of our upbringings, it could vary, positive or negative, but usually in most cases, our upbringing didn't give us a great example or give us a great idea of what love really is and what it entails and how it's properly displayed. And there really is no manual, there really is no handbook for it, but it's more or less something to be felt. And unfortunately, when there is a lack or none of that growing up or in your surroundings, you tend to have a misconstrued conception of what it is or how to show it. And you could even have a false idea of what love is, or not even believe in it, which is even worse, and we're not going to get into that.
that's another
But
video.
Ultimately, I feel like if you really go through something, it really teaches you.
Alright, so we had the camera cut off on us.
A little bit of a
yeah.
technical difficulty.
But we're all good. So Tony's going to finish saying his point. You're not even going to notice it with the edits. So.
Alright, so we're good.
Bro.
Alright, so ultimately what I was saying is, no matter what, it's going to teach you. Even if you haven't had an experience, just going through that experience is going to teach you how to love better, how to express it better, and how to embody it better. And I think ultimately that's the biggest takeaway from any experience with a person that we can take away and have and take with us, is that idea of what love is, how to express it, and how to embody it.
I really like that.
That to me is the biggest takeaway to make a breakup a breakthrough.
Hell yeah. What I like about that too is a lot of people when they're going through breakups and they're in love with somebody, right? Because obviously when you're going through a breakup, it doesn't matter if you're with someone for 3 months, 6 months, a year. You obviously grow feelings for that person. There is a sense of attachment there, but just the ability to care for someone that much, I feel like it's something that shouldn't be like that you shouldn't diminish that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
The fact that you did love somebody should be cherished. The ability to love.
Definitely.
And I feel like a lot of people don't really give gratitude to that, to the fact that you can feel those feelings.
And I think a lot of that has to do with, again, trying to run away from the reality of what is.
For sure.
Because you're seeing it as a loss. You're seeing it as a failure.
As a
and
failure.
immediately your brain says, let's not accept that as our reality. It has to be something else.
Exactly.
And you make excuses instead of appreciating what you had, who the person was, the time that you guys shared, and saying, you know what? It's not the first, it won't be the last, but nonetheless, it was great while it lasted.
Exactly. And I like that you say that, that it's not a failure, because I feel like a lot of us we let our ego mind get in the way of our logical mind. And our ego mind, our ego mind is always telling us that a failure is a bad thing. And I feel like failures aren't a bad thing. If anything, you should fail faster so you could get to your goal even faster, and so you could get to your ideal state that you want to be in. And I feel like failing is actually the best thing that could happen, because it's only building you up for the next amazing experience that you're gonna have. You know
I think that's relative again to almost everything.
Yeah.
Any successful person I've ever talked to, any long-term relationship that I've ever seen or experienced, any married couple that's been married over 20, 30 years, I mean, any person who's been in a profession for decades, they all eventually tell me the same thing, that process was something that nobody else is going to understand. They went through extreme lows. They went through times where they were about to give up. They went through times where they didn't see where they are at this moment. And it's all the same struggle, mental battle, failure, loss, pick yourself back up, get up, reinvent yourself, recreate, refocus, and reconquer. It's all part of the process. And I think when we have such a perfected mindset that success is a destination or love is a destination and not a journey,
absolutely,
we immediately set ourselves up for failure, thinking that, hey, me loving somebody means we got there and we won.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, when I get that, when I get successful, that's it. Like perfection is possible. Like that love you see in the movies is really like some everlasting feeling that just lasts an eternity. Hell no.
Exactly.
Love is a journey. Success is a journey. It is a walk. It is not a destination or a point that you reach. Emotions are not forever, thank God. Not happiness, not nothing.
Exactly.
So
time does
this idea, this idea of when I'm with somebody I'm in love means I'm gonna be happy all the time is an immediate setup for accepting failure.
For failure, absolutely.
For accepting failure in the wrong way.
You're mentally setting the standard that's impossible. That's impossible to be happy all the time. It's impossible to feel love
off the bat before it has a chance to show itself real.
So I do want to shed some light on something else too, that before I get into my last point that he just said is that time does heal all wounds, and there is no such thing as the one. And I want to clarify what I mean by this, because I know a lot of people are like, no, I have the one, or I get it. Okay, so growing up, social media, movies, we're all conditioned to live this fairy tale, to pursue this fairy tale relationship, right? You know, the Prince Charming and the princess or whatever. And there is no such thing as the one. And let me clarify what I mean by that. It doesn't mean that you're not going to end up with someone that is the one in your eyes, but I'm saying you're going through a breakup and you were saying that this person was the one, and I'm going to stop you right there. That person happens just to be in your area. You know what I mean? We're talking about global. We're talking about Earth.
Yeah.
Billions of people, 7+ billion, 8+ billion people. And that person just happened to be in your social circle or in your metropolitan area, or you met online. There are billions of people out there that are, if not more compatible than your ex, that are going to treat you better, that's going to be better suited for you, that are going to build you up, that is going to serve you. And I just wanted to...
I got you one better. I love this. I love that you said that.
Exactly.
Because you immediately challenged my mind to think about the perspective you had, and then it brought me to another one, which is too many times where we have the mindset of trying to find the one instead of being the one.
Hey, I like that.
And I think
I like that.
Too many times we're out there and we're like, yo, I'm trying to find that perfect, or that thing that says me all over it. Instead of being that thing, being that one, and trusting that you're going to attract something identical to match you.
100%. That's good.
I think that's what he's saying is actually so true. There is not the one out there. There is not one for you. It's you that creates it for you.
Exactly. It's the energy that you involve in that person. And I love that he's saying about attracting it, because I feel like a lot of people, they depend on happiness from other people and
external
other places.
Sources.
Exactly. They're codependent on something else or someone else to fill that void in them.
Definitely.
And I feel like what he's hitting on there is loving yourself, and we hear that all the time, but really becoming the one in your own eyes, so that way you attract and you emit that energy, and then bring it right back into your life with the person that is suited for you, that is complimenting you, that's not filling you because you're already whole, but you guys are coming together as wholes and complementing each other, and that's where real love starts. That's where real love begins, and not from a place of neediness, and not from a place of like halfness. You know what I mean? From
not to
unfulfillment.
Yeah, not to bring experiences into this conversation, but I just find it so relevant. I went through a situation, you know, where we're harping on this, the one, and I had it in my mind that this individual was the one, and it was killing me at the fact that I felt like there was nothing I could do to make that person happy.
Gotcha.
And I kept trying, working on myself, bettering myself, thinking outside the box, trying to figure out different ways where I could make the person happier or show them that I could, and I had it all wrong.
Yeah.
Anybody cannot make anybody truly happy.
True.
You can make somebody happy for a moment, but when we're talking about true happiness and joy, no one could give that to you. And that's why I really say, if you can find that happiness in you, and you can be that love that you're trying to find, and you could be the one that you're trying to find outside, then no matter what point you get to, you're always going to be content, satisfied, and happy.
That's
and
amazing.
You're not going to put that responsibility or that weight,
that burden,
or
on
that burden
else.
on somebody else to say it is your job to make me happy. No, the minute I take that away from you and I say I'm already happy, now it's just a matter of let's just make each other more happy.
Exactly. Let's build together now at this point.
Thank you.
I love that. I love that.
I'm not gonna sit here and try to fill your cup. You're not gonna sit here and try to fill my cup. I don't want a dependency. Let's fill our own cups individually, so that when we cheers, our cups run over. Boom.
I like that. Perfect. That was great. That was greatly said, bro.
Oh man,
I love it.
Damn, I love that.
So this leads me to my last point. So it forces us to break out of our comfort zone, either to sink or swim. And the reason I say sink or swim is because a lot of people in this moment in their life, they're really low and they feel like they're hopeless and they're not seeing that light at the end of the tunnel. And I can tell you right now from experience that I've done this before. You know, I've been through breakups before, and you do pass this heartaid. Definitely. And I know that it's a very painful thing to go through, but you will surpass, the feelings will surpass, and you will overcome this. And the reason I say sink or swim is because this is an opportunity for you to break out of your comfort zone and to create new patterns. We're so used to doing things when we're in a relationship that really don't build us up, because we're accustomed to again trying to make this.
I love where you're getting at. Keep going.
So we're trying to make this other person happy, and we're not really seeking discomfort in ourselves. And I feel like this is an opportunity for you to really excel in all areas of your life and to really find yourself again. And I know that kind of leads to my first point, but just really choosing to sink or swim is all dependent on you and your mentality and how you carry forward from it.
I want to piggyback again. I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
When you say sink or swim, I think of fight or flight.
Yeah.
Because that's more of a natural, unconscious reaction that we have. Sink or swim sounds a little bit more conscious, like we're gonna choose. When in reality, what happens before we even have that choice if we're gonna sink or swim? Emotions. And emotions trigger what? That fight or flight response within us.
Floodgates of emotions come out.
And that triggers a fight or flight response in us, which shoots adrenaline, shoots all these endorphins, and gives us a little rush. It could be negative or good emotions. It still gives us a sense of enjoyment. And it's weird, but I say that because 70% of our life we live in that fight or flight state because of stress, work, people, anxiety, you name it, the news, the world itself. 70% of our life is in this fight or flight area, and it's no question why people get so comfortable in that fight or flight mode, where they're stressed, they're anxious, they're sad, they're depressed, is because everything around them is already supporting that one emotion.
Everything is chaotic around them.
So you added a chaotic emotion in a relationship, and it says, "Oh, throw that in the pot."
It's already it's already the norm.
Festering.
It's already the norm too. Exactly.
So that's why I say even more so, you have to fight to be positive and be the light in that situation, because your body and your brain are already conditioned to accept all of the stress, anxiety, and sadness that's already out there.
That's going in the real world, absolutely.
And you have to know that you're going to be more prone and more attracted to those negative emotions than the positivity and the light. And that's why I say take that challenge head on and know what the fight is. That's 50% of winning.
Absolutely. So in summary, I guess I'll summarize a bit.
Definitely.
I feel like the big points that I want to hit on is huge, is self-development. Number one on the top of my list. And self-development can fall in all these things. I feel like
emotional, spiritual,
exactly.
Emotional, spiritual, and mental.
Exactly. And I feel like your mental health is so vital to your progress in any area of life. But when we're talking about relationships, I feel like this is an opportunity for you to read a lot of books, to soak in new information, and to just start becoming a better version of yourself in all areas, and physically too. This is an opportunity to literally launch you to the goals that you've been putting off for so long, and this is a good moment to do that.
Yeah, no, my biggest advice is you take those three things he explained: mental, emotional, physical, right? Your body, physical, and you do something daily to edify those things.
Yeah.
You take physical, I don't care if it's running, yoga, working out, whatever it is that challenges you physically and gives you that outlet to let things go. Spiritually, I don't care what you believe in, I don't care what you practice, hold on to that, try to get a little bit closer to that daily.
Yeah. Not
big steps, small steps daily. Try to get closer spiritually and mentally. Watch things, talk to people, find a mentor.
Meditation.
Read, meditation. I don't care, something to build your mental. And I think once you get in a consistent habit of trying to support and edify these three areas, you can't go wrong. It's only a matter of time before you find yourself to that next level and evolve.
Absolutely. So, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you guys go like, follow all Tony's shit. I'm going to put it right here. This is his Instagram. Make sure y'all follow him. Thank you so much for coming, bro.
You already know, man. Anytime. It was my pleasure.
Showing love to Slate Nation. And this is we're going to do more of these videos, man. Just
for sure.
Really an intimate conversation with you guys to let you know that we're all human. We all go through things, but it's all perspective and it's all the way you view things. And I hope that you guys got something from this information. And if you did, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the video. We're going to be coming out with more, and make sure you guys follow all the Tony stuff. This guy's always killing it, always doing exciting things. So.
Biggest thing, guys, no matter what you're going through, you're not alone. That's why we're doing this. That's why we care to express anything on social media or take the time to display anything on social media, to let everybody out there know that, look, you're not alone. There's always somebody going through the same, if not worse.
Absolutely.
And all it takes is you taking a step out to help yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, man. Thank you guys for watching. We're going to the gym right now, all right?
You already know.